All right. Welcome back. We're at Heather Charles 2024, day 3. I am pleased to have my last guests of my regatta. So I would like them to introduce themselves, going from left to right.
Hey guys, my name is Kory Rogers.
I'm Chris Bak. Nice to meet you.
And I'm Choi. Nice to meet you.
All right. Thank you all. So we're here at a rowing event on flat water, but that's not what you do. So what do you do?
I mean, we all do coastal. Peter's our coxswain.
So for those who don't know what coastal rowing is, explain what that is.
So coastal rowing is a really dynamic side of the sport. So in traditional flat water rowing, you'll see more 2K racing, 4 or 5K racing, as we see here at Heather Charles. For coastal, we do have 4 and 6K racing, which is on the endurance side. Okay. But we also have a cool facet, which is now in the 2028 Olympics in beach sprints. So it's a 500-meter format with some slalom. We can get into more detail on that. But it's much shorter, more dynamic race out on the open ocean.
All right. Now, having lived in Puerto Rico, I know what's in the ocean, and I'm not a fan of it. Flipping is not an option. Consider you have things waiting for you. You can become a snack if you don't do well. So talk about how the race starts before you're actually rowing. So for those who are not aware of coastal rowing, how it would begin. They might think, oh, we'd have stake boat holders like you would in a regular flat water race for 2K, but that's not so. So how is it set up?
Yeah, good question. So I would say that there's actually 2 different types of coastal rowing.
Okay.
So the Olympic discipline for LA that Chris mentioned is called beach sprints.
Yes.
And that one, if you're in a smaller boat with a single or a double, then one of the athletes would be at the archway at the starting line.
Okay.
And there's like a little rope on the sand, and then when the buzzer goes off, then you sprint anywhere from 50 to 80 meters.
Okay.
And in the case of a quad, it'd be the coxswain.
Oh, wow.
And then you have to jump into the boat and then slalom around 3 buoys and then make your way back. And then the bow person jumps out and then would have to go back to the start line and hit a big red button. So it's very action packed. I would like to say it's kind of like the BMX or the mountain biking of, cycling equivalents instead of the velodrome, the elegancy of velodrome, but a little more rough and tumble. And then for the Coastal World Championships, the long distance event, there's variations, but the one that I've seen the most is usually a cluster of people kind of waiting. And there's 3 balls that designate like 1 minute starting times. So there's 3 balls, that means 3 minutes. 1 drops, the second one drops, and the last one drops, and then the buzzer goes, and then there really is no lanes. Okay. And so it's like head racing without the stagger. And so like 20 to 40 boats all kind of converge towards that one.
So it's a lot of contact.
Yeah. When people say rowing's not a contact sport, it's a lie in coastal. Let's just say that.
So okay, that's interesting. So I would presume, coming from the world of track and field, you're not going to put somebody, we always have an expression, you'll never see a donkey in the Kentucky Derby. It looks like a horse, but doesn't run like one. So you would not have your slowest runner at the bow of your boat, considering if you have a tight race, but you happen to have someone at the bow who can outrun the other bow person, you can move from bronze to gold. Or from out of medal contention to being a gold medalist just based on the run. So do you ever actually have races to figure out who's the fastest?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think in the endurance side, I'll let Kory talk about what happened in 2023.
Oh,
okay. Let's talk about it. I love it.
So Chris and I, we did the double for the endurance. Great race. We surprised ourselves leading the race for first 3K, 3.5K, maybe even 4.
Closer to 4K.
Maybe we'll call it 4 of a 6K race.
Oh, wow.
And then, the person who was bowing, which was me, there was 2 buoys that looked very similar. And I went the wrong way. And thank God we had a built-up lead of maybe about 100 meters or so.
Okay.
And Chris starts looking over at 2nd place, 3rd place, 4th place, and they all start going somewhere else. I'm like, nah, don't even worry about it. They're going the wrong way. Let me steer. And in the end, I was wrong.
Oh, no.
So we had to cut over really fast. thank God we were still in front at the turn, but I mean, I probably added like 20, 30 seconds of extra sprint that we did not need to do. All of our built up cushion was gone. We get past in the last 150 meters of the row coming into the beach.
Okay.
And we're down maybe 2.5 boat lengths.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, screw this. I'm getting out of the boat. I jump out early and I beat the Swedish guy who's running.
Saw that.
Yep. So a 27-minute race came down to the last second.
He was a big man.
Huge, probably 6'6", 220.
Esco, if you're watching, we love you, man. You're great.
No. Hats off to you.
I remember seeing that. So, talk about the 500-meter course, because some people are not, including myself, as familiar with it. How does it work?
So the 500-meter course. So imagine you're on any pristine, nice beach anywhere, unless conditions may vary.
Okay.
But you're on a beach, right? Normal thing. Usually, if you take wherever the water is coming in from, subtract about 50 to 80 meters, depending on the venue.
Okay.
And that's where your start line is going to be. So your start line is going to be there. And then you're going to have essentially 2 flags. Sometimes they have you run around the flag. Sometimes they don't. It just depends on the race. And you pretty much learn that race day. And the reason for that is it can change based off of tide, based off of conditions. So that's just race dependent. But anyway, so there's 3 buoys. Each are placed about 60 to 80 meters apart. Again, it just kind of depends. So you sprint to the boat. You have your start line. You're sprinting into the boat from the beach. You hit the water. You have to figure out where the boat is, where the oars are. And there is a unique kind of position, team position in coastal rowing in the beach sprint format of boat handlers. So in the past, we've had teammates, we've had coaches, we've had random people off the side of the street or on the beach come in and hold our boats for us. So your boat's not flopping all over the place. So after you enter the boat, you're racing towards the first buoy. The first buoy is going to be off your port side. Second buoy you have to pass it on your starboard side. And then at the very end, which is about 250 meters out from the beach, there is a turn buoy. So you have to do a 180-degree turn, and then you race straight back to the beach as fast as you can. Jump out of the boat from the water back onto the beach, sprint, run around the flag, and then eventually hit the buzzer that Peter was talking about.
So, from a coxswain's perspective, are your calls different in beach sprints or coastal rowing than you would say on flat water doing a 2K or even a 5K here at the Charles?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. How would they vary?
I mean, I would just say like it's just a different shell, right? Like it's so much heavier. I mean, I might be a little off base about this, but he's like 400 pounds, maybe even heavier,
upper
right?
300s,
Upper 300s, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's not the same as what you would normally row on the river. And, you know, even though it's heavy, it's made to withstand those crazy, you know, waves and conditions.
Absolutely.
And I think because Mother Nature is never a battle you can win against, is someone that you have to sort of adapt to. It's like, are there waves coming? Is there wind coming? And you kind of have to make quick adjustments. You know, there's no time for in twos. Let's do this because the race is a little bit over 2 minutes. The other thing that I think is really interesting about what Chris mentioned with the 500-meter course that a lot of people don't know is because it's tidal, your run distance can change, but also the distance between when you get to the first buoy can change. So if the tide is going out, you might have to end up running like, oh, I thought I was 50 meters in the morning. Oh, shoot, this afternoon it's actually 125. And then all of a sudden the first buoy is only 30 meters away. So you don't have time to, you have to really adapt quickly. So
then as a crew member, you need to be paying attention and listening.
All the time.
And as a coxswain, when they say go, it's right now.
Yeah.
You have to actually be very much in tune as well. So that means you have to be aware of your surroundings. I hope some coxswains are paying attention to this because we have those that are not always as spatially aware. And that's why we have a lot of accidents out here. I do love the Elliott Bridge crashes, by the way, but sometimes it's because some coxswains are not as spatially aware. So to be a coastal road coxswain, you have to be extremely spatially aware. And at that moment, if there's a change, I love it. I love it. So now that LA is on the horizon, 3 years or so, a little less than 4 years, what are your plans? Because I know they are having certain boat classes, not all of the boat classes that you see at Worlds will be coming to the Olympics, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And then also, you also were a part of the para as well.
Yes.
Talk about that for a minute, because
Um,
that's something that a lot of people are not as aware of.
yeah.
And I have a big heart for inclusion, especially for para rowing and any type of athlete who is typically excluded. I want them included.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah. You know, what I will say, to be perfectly honest, is I didn't know much about the para athletic world, not just rowing, but para athletics in general. And I think a lot of people, when they join as coxswains or as coaches, they kind of go in with the story saying, oh, it's because I have a history with para and I want to support para. I was actually, ironically, the opposite, where I was like, I didn't really know much about it. I walked into it looking at it like, hey, look, they're a national team. I didn't see them any differently. And I knew my job was, no matter what the boat is to make them go as fast as possible.
That's
right?
the best way to be.
Even if you're 80 years old as a master's, if you're a junior, or if you're a para, you know,
That's
the coxswain's job is just to make that boat go as fast as possible.
That's right.
So to me, it wasn't like, oh, it's a different type of coxing or you have to adjust things. It's because it's para. I'm like, it's still a national team position, and it was a great opportunity to learn how to be a better coxswain.
Now, do they have para rowing in the coastal world yet?
It's getting introduced,
All right.
and we brought our first, round of PR3 entries last year. And yeah, it was pretty cool opportunity to represent inclusion, and US was sort of at the top, as we always are. Sorry, world, but
For those who don't know the different types of para classes, you mentioned PR3. So you have PR3, PR2, and PR1.
yeah. So for coastal, because of that running element, it's a little bit harder to do the PR1 and 2 categories.
Indeed.
It might be possible in the long distance where you don't have that running element, but right
Okay.
now it's just PR3.
Okay, and what is PR3 consist of?
Yeah, so way back in the day, PR1, 2, and 3 used to be called arms and shoulders, and then trunk and arms, and
Okay.
then legs, trunk, and arms, LTA.
Yes.
And the idea is just, legs, body, arms as part of the strokes, but it's how much mobility do you have?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. So now, question for you two. I presume, what boat classes do they have for 28 for the games?
I think as of right now, they have 3 boats:
Okay.
men's single, women's single, and then a mixed double.
Okay, so you wouldn't be a double together.
That's right.
Yeah, only the
Right.
mixed category. So,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna
Okay.
miss Kory a little bit in the boat.
Okay, so then is one person going for the single and another going for mixed double?
That's been the trend over the past,
Okay.
past few years.
We,
I think we have some conversations there, but
yeah.
And do they have a trials for Coastal Rowing?
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
All right.
each year it's usually around June was trials.
Okay.
So historically it's been in Sarasota. We had it in LA one year. So
Okay.
hoping to get back out in LA, back
Okay.
on the course, hopefully
Yeah.
for LA
Makes
2028.
sense to do that. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we'll see what happens there. But
Okay.
again, the last time it was really fun. Kory and I got to race each other most recently in Japan this year.
Okay.
And the last time we had raced was our very first time rowing coastal
Yeah.
4 years ago
Yeah,
at Sarasota.
yeah.
So it was kind of a what goes around comes around deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a full circle moment.
Yeah. Well, I am looking forward to LA. I was in attendance for Paris, but just for the flat water rowing. Of course, they did not have coastal rowing then, but it was one of those things where I am completely in awe, having lived in a Caribbean island, and I know what type of issues you can have on the water. Much respect, so much respect. So I'm not going to get me to. You can't get me to get out there, but I will watch it.
I will say some of the unique things that we had this year at trials. You said some of the sea life. One thing that's really cool that I don't think you'll really ever see in a flat water race is a manatee delay. So again,
Yeah.
just something to look forward to. We
Yeah.
had a manatee delay this year. Anything is possible when you're out there.
Well, I was struck by manatee rowing a single in Puerto Rico.
Really?
So I know all about how manatees work. Yes, I do. Terrifying. He was just frolicking in the water, having a good time, and I guess I thought he was somewhere else, and he was not. And he came up. My boat was there, and he happened to lift me up. I
Wow.
came out of my boat.
Wow,
My boat
wow.
came on top of me, and it hurt.
Oh.
I ended up being admitted into the hospital in St. Lucia.
Oh my God.
yeah.
And I had some problems with my back. And I remember watching Robbie Manson set the world best time in a single from my hospital bed.
Oh,
Wow.
my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't play with manatees. So
No.
they are big old sea cow, and they are large. But yeah, that's amazing. So they have worlds coming up, I presume, in 25. They'll have all of the boat classes. So are you planning on competing in 25?
Always.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm planning on competing as well, and
There you
hopefully
go.
Peter will be there.
Yeah.
All
right. Working on it.
So I have to give a shout out. I would be so wrong if I did not, to Texas. Of course, to Alexis. And Kory and Alexis are Longhorns, and they were in the same boat. And what year did you win?
We won 2023 last year. Yep.
And Kory, you were also Chris, you were also in that boat,
I was, yeah,
and you were coxing that boat.
I was not.
Oh no! Okay, but did you cox another boat that did get a medal?
I coxed another boat. We didn't get a medal, unfortunately.
Oh,
But
no.
yeah, it was
Well,
great to watch these guys win because
25 is coming.
yeah.
There you
So
go.
year after year.
That's right. Well, I am so happy that you all came and took the time to come and chat with me and educate me a little bit more about coastal rowing. I did not know a lot of it, and I love to learn about it, and I'm sure our viewers as well. So, any last words?
Try coastal. It's a lot of fun.
All right.
Yeah, come on in. The water's warm. We're a little crazy, but it's fun.
And if someone is interested in coastal rowing, where could they go? Or is there a website they can look at to find out a location that actually offers it?
Yeah, on the U.S. Rowing website, there are a lot of resources on there that
Okay.
have different coastal clubs. And as the sport grows, I think we're seeing a lot more clubs introduce coastal within their own show houses.
Yeah, I've seen some people actually have the actual boats themselves, so they can try it out on flat water beforehand. So, yeah. Well, all right. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking the time to speak with me, and enjoy the remainder of your 2024 Head of the Charles.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.